Yes, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is the latest Arsenal news and transfer news as well. Brentford have offered Ivan Toney a new deal, according to Team Talk, and there is growing optimism that he will sign that deal in January. Now, that means that Brentford will be including a release clause in that deal, which is up to £100 million, something Arsenal cannot trigger this January. But then also, it means that Brentford will be able to protect the value of Ivan Toney should he stay at the club in January. And come the summer, they will be able to get even more money than they can get in January. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Let me know in the comment box below, where do Arsenal go from here? If you're Mikel Arteta, if you are Edu, and you know the price for Ivan Toney has just gone up, he's just signing a new deal. We're hearing that the player is very much interested in joining Arsenal, but he will sign a new deal if the deal doesn't happen to Arsenal. So if he signs a new deal, who do we go for? You know, which other striker do you think Arsenal should focus on? Osimhen has just signed a new deal this January as well, and that means he is off limits. In some way, shape, or form. What should Arsenal do? Where do we turn from here? Let's get this video to 300 likes, and I would love to get your thoughts absolutely in the comment box below. Right, so let's get into it. According to Team Talk, Brentford have decided that they will extend the deal for Ivan Toney, and that deal could actually be extended until 2026. Now, it is not the same arrangement as the David Raya deal, because David Raya extended his deal with Brentford and then he joined Arsenal. Why they did that, they wanted to protect his value first and foremost, but then they also wanted to have an advantage that if Arsenal decide against signing him, then they could actually return, he could return to the club and then they could sell him in 2025. That was a very, very good deal actually, for Brentford. It was very good thinking. However, for the Ivan Toney deal, Brentford think him staying could actually be a very, very vital part for them to stay in the Premier League, but also to improve their performances, which are actually very poor in the league right now. So they've decided they'll give him a new long-term deal, and they will insert a release clause in that deal. But that is not even the worrying part, right? Because Ivan Toney can still say, I'm not signing a new deal. I'd love to move on in January. I'd love to go to Arsenal and, sell me now. Now, according to Team Talk, Ivan Toney and his camp do not have any plans of fighting against Brentford's will, and they will not push for a move this January. They're interested in Arsenal. They're interested in a move. They would love to go to Chelsea. They would love to go to Arsenal. They would love to go to Barca. They would love to go to any club that is interested if they can agree a deal with Brentford. So the likelihood that he signs a new deal is at 90%, right? At the moment that deal is finalized, the moment the details are finalized and the deal is offered to Brentford, offered to Ivan Toney, the likelihood that he signs it is at around 90%. And that is a major story for Arsenal. It's a major update to Mikel Arteta and Edu. If you're looking for a striker and Ivan Toney is one of your priorities, and then he pens a deal, and Victor Osimhen as well, one of your priorities, has penned a new deal in January, for me, it's a good story. It's a very, very good story because it begins with disappointment, but it could end with a happy ending, right? If Arsenal look at it into this way, we have two strikers that we want. They're available in the summer, but not available in January. They both have £100 million release clauses. We cannot pay that. Then we definitely just move on. Now, this is what I think about Toney. I think as a player, he has looked at his career at Brentford and he thought at the end of this campaign, that was in the summer of 2023, that is when he had to make the move. That is when he had to get a huge money move. And look, bearing the fact that he had a very good season, about 20 goals, 14 goals in open play, that was a very good campaign to secure him a very good move. However, the 8-month ban from football happened, and he's been working harder. He's been waiting for that moment for January to happen, and then he goes, boom, can I secure a move? And he said this on the diary of a CEO. If I get a move in January, I'm going to go. I'm going to move on from Brentford. At the moment, I don't have any club in my mind, but I would love to have a club that is ambitious, organized, and has a very good project. Arsenal are ambitious at the moment. We are organized, and we still have a very, very good project, despite the fact that some of our players are actually declining in form. So he would still want to move in January. There's no question about that. But is it worth fighting against a club that has given you everything, against a club that has been loyal to you, against a club that has paid your wages for 8 months without you playing football, and you've been banned? It is not worth it, and I'm telling you, he is not going to do it, and no player would actually do such a thing. So if Brentford are actually serious and they want him to stay, and they see it as the only way for them to survive, relegation or probably get a decent finish in the Premier League, I'm going to say it now, they are going to keep him. They will keep him, and Arsenal will have nothing to do about it, and no club will have anything to say about it. He is their player. He's still under contract. They have an option of sitting down, talking to him. They've been so good to him. I think they're just going to use the reciprocity syndrome, and he's going to fall for the bait. It's as simple as that. Now, about the release clause, this is where Arsenal just have to walk away. If they dare insert a £100 million release clause in his contract, the Arsenal don't have to go back for Ivan Toney. We just go for Victor Osimhen. Because I tell you what, Victor Osimhen also has a release clause of about £100 million. Who is the better player? I mean, that depends on which side of the of the scale you fall onto. If you fall onto Ivan Toney's scale, Toney is better. If you fall onto Victor Osimhen's scale, then Victor Osimhen is better. In that regard. But either way, for me, a player who has been in action for a very long time in Victor Osimhen versus a player who has spent 8 months on the sidelines, I would still go for Victor Osimhen. He's younger. He's he's a good finisher as well, and I think he's ready for the Premier League, right? 100 million for both of them. I've said it before and I'll say it again. My choice will always be Victor Osimhen. I would always go for Victor Osimhen. So the release clause just chases away Arsenal. I think Ivan Toney is a good player, but Brentford need to allow teams to negotiate. They need to allow teams to say whatever they feel about their product, right? If we are Arsenal, I think we're looking at Ivan Toney and we're going 80 to 85 million. Are you listening to that offer? If Brentford say no, I won't be surprised for Arsenal to walk away. Chelsea, probably they would go 80 to 90 million. Right? I don't think Chelsea are going to spend 100 million on Ivan Toney. I don't think it's in tandem with what they're trying to do. It's not even parallel. It's just bizarre. I don't think they will sign him for 100 million. So let's wait and see what comes out of this one. But the likelihood that Toney signs a new deal is absolutely huge, and Brentford are working on that. So it's a smart move from Brentford. And I've always told you that clubs like Brighton, Brentford, West Ham, these are smart guys. They know how to sell. They know how to protect the value in their players. You look at West Ham and how they actually extended the deal of Declan Rice in 2022 when he wanted to go to Chelsea, right? They told him, you can stay, but in 2023, we will surely let you go, right? That is part of the deal, right? You don't want the money. You don't want to be here for an extra 10 years. You want to raise your ambitions. It's okay. Just stay for another year, and then we will sell you. As long as we get our money, we will let you go. That is the same language Brentford are planning to use on Ivan Toney. That is the same language that every single team that is brilliant uses on with their players, right? Brighton last January, Arsenal come in with 80 million. Moses Caicedo is gassed up. He's very excited. He's writing every nonsense up and down on his timelines. Brighton just said, listen, we'll give you a raise for the next 6 months, and after that, we will sell you to a club of your choice, and we will agree a deal with any club that you want, as long as you stay here for the next 6 months. In the next 6 months, you're going to be a rich man as long as you are patient. And he stayed, and it paid off. He ended up going to Chelsea. He's the most expensive midfielder in Premier League history, and he's also one of the best and well-paid players in the Premier League. So I think, for me, either way, it works for Ivan Toney. But I think for Arsenal, we don't need to be sad. And I know the comment section is going to be running with comments like, Kosi, I can't believe this. You're lying to me. Ivan Toney should, we should do whatever it takes and everything. But I'll tell you something. You're taking an untested player for 8 months, I think Arsenal, are in a good place here. We might as well do a loan deal or a cheaper deal for a player who's been in action, and you never know, it might work out, right? This is a huge risk. Arsenal spending 70, 75 million on Ivan Toney, who's not played. He's 26. I mean, he is in his prime. Strikers are getting better at longevity, so they're getting better as they grow. But it's a huge risk. It's still a huge risk. I mean, we won't be blindfolded, right? It's a huge risk. If they're asking for 80 to 100 million, and they're the only guys that have been watching him train, none of us has been, able to watch him train. No, let's take it slow. Let's wait until the summer. Let's get in one good striker on a loan deal, or one potentially good striker on a cheap deal. Okay, so where do Arsenal turn to from this saga? What is the next step? The next step, and I hope Mikel Arteta and Edu don't use this as an excuse. The next step is for Arsenal to go and find a striker that is within our budget, right? All this Ivan Toney saga, all this Victor Osimhen saga, it is nice, it is very good, right? And we will compete with Chelsea, we'll compete with whoever is there for his signature. But at the moment, our priority is not to compete and show off money. Our priority is not to, bring in a 100 million pound player. Our priority at the moment is to bring in a savior up top, right? And that could be anyone. As long as they have a mind to score goals, an eye for goal, and the ability to finish off their chances, we better get those deals in. We better find someone like that. So, number one, of course, Hugo Ekitike. Of course, you don't know that I was going to say Hugo Ekitike. Ekitike is at PSG. He's not playing football. He's absolutely hungry for game time. Now, again, Hugo Ekitike is almost in the same situation as Ivan Toney. The difference here is that Hugo is not banned, but again, he's like banished from playing football, for PSG, right? The arrival of Randall Kolo Muani and Goncalo Ramos meant that Hugo Ekitike, who was brought in as a helper to Kylian Mbappe, does not have that privilege anymore. Actually, when you look at Goncalo Ramos and Randall Kolo Muani, they have the potential and ability to throw Kylian Mbappe out of that PSG side, or actually replace him. Maybe not throw him out, but to replace him, right? So if they lose Mbappe, PSG can rely on Goncalo Ramos and Randall Kolo Muani to get in a couple of goals, and they will get a couple of goals from that pair. So for me, Hugo Ekitike, it is time to move on, son. It is time for you to find a better squad. It's time for you to find a team that wants you to play football, and that team is Arsenal. We are desperate for a striker. We need someone who has a point to prove, right? So I wouldn't say go and sign Luka Jovic. I wouldn't say that. Trust me, I wouldn't say that. We want a hungry striker. We want a guy that has a point to prove. We want a player that is yearning for game time. We want a player that is yearning to showcase their talent, at least for 6 months. And Hugo Ekitike, good guy. But I think the most doable deal, like Mr. Mikel Arteta is picky as a manager. And Sahu Girassi might not be the option that he thinks about, but the whole market will be all over Sahu Girassi. The whole market will be all over this guy. He has scored 17 goals for Stuttgart so far. You can't think about anyone else without giving him a chance, right? He's 17.5 million euros available. And he is available. Stuttgart might actually want to extend his deal. But I think if Arsenal came in right now, talked to Girassi, told him, listen, this is your chance to join us right now, or else in the summer, the likes of Jonathan David, Dusan Vlahovic, Ivan Toney and Victor Osimhen are going to be above you on our list. This is your chance. We don't have a lot of money to spend in January. We have that 17.5 million euros. This is your chance. If we can convince the player on personal terms, which I think we can, we are in the Champions League. We are in the top 4 in the Premier League. Oh my God, it hurts me to say that we are in the top 4. We should be in the top 2. We should be looking at the title. And still, we are still looking at the title. I think that is something that Arsenal can use to lure players into the side, even if we know we are not going to win it, even if we know the title race is running away from us as fast and quick as possible. But we can still talk to Sergio Guirassy. We can attract him, right? You can think about the likes of Patson Daka. I don't know if Arsenal really would benefit from Patson Daka. And I'm going to do a video of strikers that Arsenal should be looking at realistically. But Patson Daka as well is out there scoring a couple of goals, doing his thing. If Arsenal want him, it could be another deal that we do. It could be another fantastic deal that we actually can pull off. So, Toney signing a new deal, the release clause is ridiculous. I think the player himself is uncertain whether Arsenal are going to pour the money. He's also uncertain whether Chelsea are going to spend huge on him. But with Arsenal now fighting for top 4, if Chelsea dare get that guy, if Chelsea dare get Ivan Toney for 100 million, that could be the difference between Arsenal and Chelsea. That could be the point where their season takes an upward trajectory and our season takes actually a downward trajectory. But that's all I wanted to say to you about this deal. I'll be keeping you posted if anything happens on it as well.